Welcome to Be Home Resources, a place you can depend on for your home ownership needs. I'm your host, Kathleen, and I'm excited to share with you how to maintain, update, and protect the interest in your home. Today I'm excited because I'm with Bonnie Garceau of Harmony in Your Home. And we're going to be talking about, Bonnie, I meet a lot of people in my daily routine, helping them purchase homes. And they walk in spaces and they can't really identify what to do with it. And whether they're buying a new home or they just want to take a space and reinvent it, I kind of want to talk to you today about how do we do that on a budget, low cost. So I guess the first question I have for you is, other than the kitchen, if there was one room in a house that you really would focus on for maybe a new homeowner or an existing homeowner, what room would you choose?
That's a good question, Kathleen, and thank you for having me today.
Sure.
I think that the kitchen is definitely considered the heart of the home, and I think it's the place where everyone is gathering at one time or another. But the room that is probably most used is the living room or the family room. That's the place where we're going to gather to entertain guests or just relax at the end of the day or spend some family time together, whether we're watching television or playing games. And I think that that's the room that's going to probably make the most impact.
Get the most
for your
mileage
makeover.
for the investment.
Right.
Yeah.
So when you talk about what could I do because I'm on a budget or I'm on a timeline, we could talk about how we can alter that room to maybe just make the whole family feel emotionally a little bit better and more connected to the room and make the room more functional.
Yeah, so what are some small things that we can do to change the look of a room?
Okay. I would say mainly we want to just start by defining what the function of the space is going to be. What are we going to be using? What is going to be needed to make this room function properly? Do we want games in here? Do we want no television? Is there a fireplace here? So exactly what is it that we want to do in this room? And that helps to define not only what's going to be in here, what type of furniture is needed, how large the furniture might be, if there are going to be guests staying here, how much seating is needed. So all that's important that discussion takes place beforehand. Now let's say it's going to be the living room. It's a place we're going to entertain guests and we're going to just spend time with the family pretty simply. I think with a short-term budget and trying to do something on the weekend to kind of wrap this all up and make us all really happy in a couple of days, we're probably going to get the most impact from rearranging your furniture, okay? Don't feel like just because you have two sofas, they have to sit symmetrically. It should be more or less, what are we trying to take in? Are we trying to take in the fireplace and the television? You know, because some of these things might need to be changed around.
And that's hard. Sometimes you have a room where you have a wall with a fireplace and you have a wall with a television and they kind of fight each other as to where the focal point is. So I get the focal point thing, and it's interesting that you say furniture. Oftentimes I go into houses there where there's way too much furniture.
Correct.
And so as we're moving furniture, what is important when placing the furniture? What are some things that you see, mistakes that people make?
Well, I think one thing you mentioned right away was the focal point. What is more important to the family, especially if the fireplace and the television is competing. You can set your sofas in various locations so that you can see both, or one could be floating out in the middle of the floor. Okay, that just, it creates a wall, but it also creates a purpose for it to be able to see different vantage points in the room. Also, you could consider that maybe that sofa gets moved to another room and it's utilized better, and you can bring in smaller seating, other chairs, or these amazing things, little poofs. So they don't take up a lot of space and they don't cost a lot of money.
So multi-purpose functioning stools or footstools that can work for multiple things.
For seating, for resting
Right.
your feet, right?
Right.
So I think that would be the most impactful thing that you might do in your living room.
So I've moved furniture around. What else can I do to
Okay.
really, when my husband comes home and he says, "Whoa, what did you do?"
Right.
How do I make it?
I think what he's going to notice first, or anyone's going to notice first, is the furniture rearrangement. But when you want to add some personality to the room, now you want to add some color to the room.
Yeah.
So draw on, there could be a large painting in your room, or just some nice wall art, and draw out of that. You may be pulling out browns or coppers, or you may be wanting to just stick with neutrals, or you might be looking to pull a blue out of a picture or a blue out of a rug and pop some accent pillows. Put a throw over to kind of create a nice vibe. The other thing is, if you have bookshelves or open shelves, that's a great place to be able to pop a little accent color around. And it visually makes your eye move around the room. It makes your eye happy to see pops of color.
So what I'm hearing is a little bit of color.
Right.
You're suggesting to pull 1 or 2 colors together.
Yep.
And adding your own personalized personality in that room.
Correct. And you can do that not just through color, but through texture. And when I mentioned the throw, that's one way of doing it. You might mix in, a Sherpa with a really thick knit, different things like that. Layering a rug, okay? Even if you have an existing wall-to-wall, you could layer a rug.
Yep.
So bringing textures in, bringing different prints, and bringing different colors in is
Interesting.
going to make a big difference in your decorating.
Interesting.
Yep.
And so how about drapes and window
Well, that's a good
coverings?
point. So I was wanting to bring up lighting, okay?
Oh.
So lighting, whether it's artificial light, updating your lights, okay, or your lamps, that makes a big difference. Adding maybe a floor lamp to the corner of the room kind of adds a different style of art to your room, depending on how funky you want to be. But also drapes. If you are the type of person that really needs like a little bit of privacy, maybe your living room is too close to the road, you could be using different types of blinds. There's lots to choose from. Or you could use very lightweight drapes or sheers. Trending is more that things are straight lined. So if you're looking for that, it's more straight line than things that are pulled back. That's kind of a different era.
Right.
So,
yeah, I've been in homes with the.
But I think for the most part, people
tiebacks.
like to have less around their windows. But it is another opportunity to add some color.
What are some of the colors that are trending today?
Well, that depends on the paint manufacturer you're talking to.
I'm sure. Yeah.
But I will say that 2023 trends are lending more toward, for people that are living in their homes, not for selling, because there's a big difference. The paint manufacturers are promoting more of natural colors, earthy tones, and deep greens. So that's what's trending right now. Bold colors.
Yeah, greens are my happy color. I'm always afraid to go too bold with a color, but greens are my happy color.
Right.
I enjoy.
I think if you are a person too that really feels like they feel safer with the neutral colors, there's plenty of neutral colors that you can pick an undertone to add to that. So for instance,
share with us what undertone
the grays, everybody says, well, how much longer is gray going to be trending? It's still trending, but it's trending with a brown undertone or with a green or a blue undertone or even a little violet to it, so it ends up being more like a taupe.
Right.
So you don't have to feel like you're matchy-matchy with gray and, it has to be coastal gray. It really should be a tone or a color that expresses your personality, and it really fits in with the fixtures and the furnishings in your room.
Right, right. So just so we can recap a little bit, it's to start with looking at the space and asking yourself if the furniture is placed in a way that really speaks to the use of the room.
Right.
And try moving some of it around. My husband will be happy about that one. And then we're looking at maybe some painting or how are you using color in the room.
Right, right.
And then you mentioned lighting.
Lighting's very, very
and
important.
Texture.
lighting's important because, again, what is that function of the space? Is it a reading room, or do we need more lighting for when there's games to be played? Or the light bulbs play a lot of a great role in this to kind of create the mood in the room.
And even just the fixture itself, sometimes I've noticed a quick fix in my bedroom was to switch out the overhead fixture, and it
updates the room.
Yeah, my daughter came in and said, "What did you do to the room?" And it was one little thing that I did.
Right.
Yeah. So the bottom line is, it doesn't take a lot of money or time to change the look of a space.
Correct.
It's really just planning and determining what you want to do with it.
And planning's key. Like we started in the beginning talking about, let's define who's going to be working in this space or living in this space, and what are we going to do with it? And everything kind of flows from there. It's just important to plan.
Because the space is emotional. It's it's where, when you find a room in a house that you really enjoy, I think if you look around, why is that space the comfort space for you? And a lot of times it does speak to the color or the layout of the furniture.
Correct. Yep.
Yeah. Well, I really appreciate you joining us today. These were great tips.
You're welcome. My pleasure.
And anytime I have interior questions, I'm always calling Bonnie. We really appreciate you joining us today, Bonnie. Thank you. I am Kathleen Garceau, and if you have any topic questions for us, we do have an email on the screen for you to email us. And in addition, we do have a Facebook group called Be Home Resources. I am happy to be your provider of resources, and enjoy our time together today. Be well and live well.